You've felt it before. An emotion rises inside you, sharp, immediate, convincing. Maybe it's anger, maybe it's fear, maybe it's love or sorrow or longing. It swells in your chest like a tide, whispering, "This is real, this is the truth," and you believe it. Because when you feel something so deeply, how could it not be true? But here's the question I had to ask myself, and maybe you're ready to ask it too. What if emotions aren't truth? What if they're just stories, loud, colorful, often misleading stories, told by the body to the mind? The Stoics never said emotions were bad. They said emotions are reactions, temporary responses, instinctive judgments. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. And if your thoughts are cloudy, your feelings will be too. There was a time I let my emotions drive everything, my choices, my words, my beliefs. I was reactive, defensive, confused, and it wasn't because I was weak, it was because I trusted every feeling as fact. But Stoicism taught me a new question to ask. Is this emotion guiding me or misleading me? In this video, I want to help you explore that same question. Together, we'll unpack the Stoic tools that teach you how to see through emotional illusion and find stillness on the other side. If this resonates with you, I'd love for you to join me by subscribing. You're not alone in this search for clarity. Let's begin. Number 1. Emotions are weather, not climate. Some days the storm hits without warning. A strange look from someone, a harsh word, a small failure. Suddenly your entire world feels heavy. You think, why am I like this? You start to believe the emotion is not just passing through you, but that it is you. That sadness means you're broken. That anxiety means something terrible is coming. That anger means you're justified. But here's the truth the Stoics offer. Your emotions are like the weather. They pass, they shift, they come and go. But you are not the weather. You are the sky. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." This means you cannot always stop the storm, but you can stop yourself from becoming it. I've had days where everything felt wrong. Mornings where I woke up with a weight I couldn't explain. In those moments, I used to panic, try to fix it or push it away. But the more I fought the weather, the worse it got. Now I try something different. I pause. I breathe. I remind myself, this feeling is a cloud. I am the sky. The Stoic path doesn't ask you to feel nothing. It asks you to observe what you feel without collapsing into it. So, when the next storm hits, ask yourself, can I step back and watch this pass? Can I remember that what I feel isn't all I am? The sky always remains, clear, still, untouched above the clouds. So do you. Number 2, the hidden judgments behind every feeling. You feel a wave of anger when someone cuts you off. You feel hurt when a friend forgets to reply. You feel anxious before a difficult conversation. But pause for a second. What if the emotion isn't caused by the event itself, but by what you believe it means? Epictetus said it clearly, it's not things that upset us, it's our judgments about them. That one sentence changed the way I look at every emotion I feel, because underneath every reaction, there's a silent belief, a thought you've accepted, sometimes without even realizing it. She disrespected me. I must not matter to him. If I fail, I'm not good enough. And those judgments, they light the match. The emotion is just the flame. The Stoics weren't cold, they were conscious. They understood that emotions begin not in the heart, but in the mind. Imagine this. Your judgments are like tinted glasses. Put on red lenses and everything looks like a threat. Put on blue ones and the world feels distant and cold. But if you take off the lenses, you begin to see things as they really are. So the next time emotion strikes, pause. Ask yourself, what belief is beneath this feeling? Is it true? Is it useful? Is it helping you live with wisdom? Because once you see the hidden judgment, you can choose whether to keep it or let it go. And when you do that, you stop being a puppet pulled by invisible strings. You become the one who sees, the one who decides. How would your life change if you questioned every emotional story you told yourself? Number 3, what you feel isn't always what's real. Sometimes your emotions lie, not because they're malicious, but because they don't always reflect reality. They reflect your fears, your memories, your wounds. And in the silence of your mind, that lie can grow loud. A look from someone becomes rejection. A pause in conversation becomes disapproval. A moment of doubt becomes a prophecy of failure. Seneca once wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." And I've seen that in myself. How I've created entire worlds of pain from a single misunderstood moment. Have you ever caught yourself rehearsing disaster in your head? The relationship falling apart, the project failing, the judgment from others stacking up in your imagination? And yet, none of it has happened. It's all storm clouds in a sky that might still be clear. This is where Stoicism offers a gentle but firm hand. It reminds you, you are not your predictions. You are not your imagined fears. You are not the worst-case scenario your mind plays on repeat. Emotions are real, yes, but that doesn't mean what they tell you is real. It's like mist over a lake, beautiful, dramatic. But if you dive in, there's solid water underneath. You just have to look past the fog. So the next time you feel overwhelmed, ask yourself, is this emotion describing something that's truly happening or something I'm imagining? That small question can change everything, because once you separate what you feel from what is, you begin to walk with clearer eyes. And in that clarity, you find peace. Number 4, stillness is the antidote to emotional storms. When the emotion hits, your first instinct is to react, to speak, to defend, to run, to prove, anything but sit with the discomfort. But the Stoics teach something radically different. They teach stillness. Cleanthes once said that the wise person is like a rock against which the waves break in vain. That metaphor stayed with me because I realized how often I let the waves toss me around. A harsh comment, I snapped. A setback, I spiraled. A fear, I chased certainty like a drowning man gasping for air. But when you pause, when you don't immediately obey your emotion, something powerful happens. You start to see the feeling rather than be the feeling. I remember once feeling overwhelmed during a conversation. I was ready to lash out, to say something I'd regret, but something in me whispered, wait. So I did, just 10 seconds. And in that stillness, the fire cooled. Stillness isn't weakness. It's strength without noise. It's space between impulse and action. Think of a snow globe. Shake it and everything swirls chaotically. But place it down and clarity returns. Not because the chaos is gone, but because you stopped shaking it. So when the emotion rises, ask yourself, can I wait? Can I breathe? Can I let this pass without acting on it? Stillness isn't passive, it's protective. It gives you time to choose a response instead of reacting on autopilot. And every time you choose stillness, you become more rooted, more calm, more you. The storm will come, but you can remain the rock. Number 5, the trap of emotional echo chambers. It feels comforting, doesn't it? When someone nods along with your outrage, agrees with your pain, tells you you're right to feel exactly as you do. And sometimes, yes, validation is healing, but too much of it in the wrong place can become a trap. A soft, warm trap that keeps you stuck. Zeno, the founder of Stoicism, believed that true growth only comes through friction, not praise, not agreement, but challenge. I've fallen into emotional echo chambers before. Online spaces, friendships, even my own inner monologue, where my feelings were never questioned, only echoed louder. And while it felt good in the moment, it blinded me, because no one asked, "Is that really true?" No one said, "Maybe there's another way to see this." Growth requires contrast. Just like the eye needs both light and shadow to perceive depth, your mind needs multiple perspectives to gain wisdom. Sometimes the people who challenge your emotional story gently, honestly, are the ones who love you the most. So the next time someone disagrees with how you feel, pause before getting defensive. Ask yourself, what might I be missing? What truth could live in their resistance? Stoicism isn't about always being right. It's about wanting to see clearly, even when it's uncomfortable. And that clarity often comes not from being surrounded by mirrors, but by stepping into rooms with different windows. Who in your life dares to question your story? Who gives you silence when you expect applause? That person might just be a gift. Number 6, resisting the lure of pleasure and panic. When we talk about emotions deceiving us, we often think of pain, fear, anger, sadness, but pleasure is just as tricky. The Stoics warned not only about suffering, but about desire, because pleasure can whisper lies just as sweetly as panic screams them. You chase the thrill of a new message, a quick reward, a comforting escape. You feel alive for a moment, but then it fades, and what's left? Often emptiness or regret. Epictetus taught, freedom is the only worthy goal in life. Anything that enslaves you, whether pain or pleasure, is the enemy. That struck me deeply, because I realized how often I made choices not out of clarity, but craving. A craving to feel better, to feel anything other than discomfort. It's like drinking seawater when you're thirsty. The first sip feels like relief, but the more you drink, the more lost you become. Desire and fear are two sides of the same coin. Both pull you out of yourself. Both make you chase or run. But either way, you lose your still center. So how do you resist the deception? You slow down. You ask, is this pleasure leading me toward what matters, or away from it? Is this fear based on something real, or just a shadow on the wall? Every emotional urge is an invitation to act without thinking, or to pause, reflect, and choose your path with intention. You don't have to be ruled by what feels good in the moment, or what feels terrifying in the dark. You can stand in the middle, still, clear, unmoved by either sweet illusion or stormy panic. Number 7, the virtue behind emotional honesty. Stoicism is often misunderstood. People think it means hiding your emotions, suppressing them, locking them in some unreachable vault. But that's not strength, that's avoidance. True Stoicism, real inner strength, isn't about pretending you don't feel. It's about feeling honestly. Musonius Rufus taught that philosophy isn't a shield against emotion. It's a training ground for the soul. He said, in essence, that discipline of thought leads to freedom of spirit. That means you can feel grief and still remain grounded. You can feel anger and still choose not to harm. You can feel fear and still move forward with calm. I used to think that being stoic meant being numb, but I was wrong. It means being aware. Think of a fire. If left uncontrolled, it burns down the house. But if tended with care, it gives warmth, light, life. Your emotions are the same. Neglected, they consume you. Understood, they illuminate your path. So when you feel sadness, say so. Not with drama, but with dignity. When you feel rage, acknowledge it. Not with violence, but with presence. Ask yourself, what is this emotion trying to tell me? And what would wisdom do with it? You don't have to reject what you feel, but you do have to rise above being ruled by it. Emotional honesty isn't about reacting, it's about recognizing, naming, sitting beside the feeling, like an old friend. Not everything that hurts you is your enemy. Sometimes the very thing you wish would go away is the teacher you've been waiting for. Feel deeply, but choose wisely. Number 8, reclaiming your role as emotional gatekeeper. There's a moment, quiet, almost invisible, right before the emotion enters. A moment where you can either open the door or keep it closed. Most of us miss that moment. We let everything in, every insult, every comment, every doubt, every fear. But the Stoics remind you, you are the gatekeeper of your inner world. You decide what enters and what stays. Pericles, a lesser-known Stoic, spoke of circles of concern, from self to family to community and beyond. But those circles were not cages, they were choices. And within the deepest circle, your own mind, only you hold the key. I used to think I had no control over how I felt, that emotions were like weather, random, uninvited, overwhelming. But over time, I began to see it differently. Not everything deserves a reaction. Not every voice deserves a reply. Not every emotion deserves to set up camp in your soul. Imagine your mind like a peaceful temple. Do you let just anyone walk in with muddy boots? Of course not. So why let in every passing fear, every imagined slight, every echo of someone else's chaos? Next time something stirs you, ask, do I want to let this in? Does this serve the life I want to live? Being the gatekeeper doesn't mean closing yourself off. It means being deliberate about what you carry, because the more carefully you guard your peace, the more powerfully you can share it with the world. And that is the strength of the Stoic. Calm, intentional, unshaken by every knock at the door. You felt it, how emotions rush in like waves, loud and demanding. And for so long you may have believed that this rush was you. But now maybe something is shifting. Maybe you're beginning to see that every feeling isn't truth, that every storm isn't your identity. Remember where we began. Your emotions might be deceiving you, not because they're evil or broken, but because they're impulsive. They react to noise, not always to meaning. And if you let them guide your every word, every decision, every belief, you might wake up one day living someone else's story. That's the gap Stoicism helps you close. The space between feeling and knowing, between reacting and responding. If you don't practice this, if you let every emotion crash through your gates unchallenged, then you stay lost in the fog, tossed by every mood, every fear, every craving. But if you do practice, even a little, you begin to build something sacred. Stillness, not silence, not suppression, but clarity. The kind of stillness that lets you feel everything and still choose peace. You won't master this overnight. I haven't. But every moment you pause, every breath you take before reacting, every belief you question, you reclaim more of yourself. So as you move forward, ask yourself, what kind of life do I want to build? One ruled by storms or one rooted like a mountain? If this journey resonates with you, I invite you gently to subscribe. Not because I have all the answers, but because we're asking the same questions. Let's keep walking this path with stillness, with honesty, and with open eyes.